Well, hello there. Welcome to my kitchen. I'm so happy that you guys are joining me today. It's my favorite time of year. It's the Christmas season, and boy, do I have a special episode for you today. I have made 3 vintage cakes, and aren't they beautiful? Now, I got the inspiration for this video after going through some of my grandmother's old cookbooks. I just love looking at old recipes, and several of them really piqued my curiosity. So I am so excited to share these recipes with you guys today. We've got a lot to cover, a lot to do, so it's time to get started because it's time to cook. First up is a graham cracker cake with a maple frosting. The recipe first appeared in 1917 from American Cookery, a magazine of the Boston Cooking School. The defining characteristic of the cake is the graham cracker flour. The cake is dense and moist with a light honey cinnamon flavor. So here is what you need: 2 sticks of butter, 1 cup of brown sugar, and 1/4 cup of white granulated sugar. Mix until creamy. Then you will need 6 eggs, and I'm adding 2 at a time. Now I'm going to start adding my graham cracker crumbs, just a little bit at a time. But first, let me just show you exactly what you will need. 1 14.4 ounce box of graham crackers. And I'm using the cinnamon and just breaking them into my food processor and blending them until I have a fine flour texture. Then 2 teaspoons of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. All right, then I'm going to add 1 cup of milk, 1/2 of it at a time. More graham cracker crumbs. Then the rest of my milk. And ending with the rest of my graham cracker crumbs. And finally, 1/2 cup of chopped pecans. Then pour the batter in a buttered and floured bundt pan. And bake for 1 hour in a 350-degree oven. Make the maple frosting, add 1/2 stick of butter with 3 tablespoons of milk and 3/4 cup of brown sugar. Cook and bring it to a boil. Let it boil for 1 minute. Turn off the heat and add 1 teaspoon of maple extract and 1 cup of powdered sugar. And then the most unique cake that I found was a tomato soup cake with a cream cheese frosting. The recipe was created by the Campbell Soup Company in the 1920s. The cake peaked in popularity in the 60s and 70s due to being the first recipe to appear on a Campbell's soup label. You will need 1 stick of butter and 1 cup of white granulated sugar and 1/2 cup of brown sugar. Mix until creamy. Then add 2 eggs. Next is 1 can of tomato soup. Then 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, 1½ teaspoons of baking powder, and 1 teaspoon of baking soda. Then 1 3/4 cup of flour and 1 1/2 teaspoons of cinnamon and 1/4 teaspoon of allspice. Then 1/2 cup of chopped walnuts and 1/2 cup of raisins. Then divide the batter between 2 9-inch cake pans lined with parchment paper. And bake for 30 minutes in a 350-degree oven. To make the cream cheese frosting, blend together an 8-ounce package of cream cheese with 1 stick of butter, then 2 cups of powdered sugar. I'm using 1/2 cup here, so I'm only going to add 1 cup at a time. And 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. And then my other cup of powdered sugar. And finally, I have my husband's granny's recipe for oatmeal cake. Also known as Lazy Daisy cake because it was considered a quick and easy cake. The earliest printing of the recipe is thought to be 1914. However, Quaker Oats created their own recipe to appear in advertisements in the 1950s. You will need 1 cup of oats and 1 1/2 cups of boiling water. Then let your oats sit for 20 minutes. Add 1 cup of sugar and 1 cup of brown sugar to 1 stick of butter. Mix until creamy. Then add 2 eggs. One teaspoon of vanilla extract. To 1 1/2 cups of flour, add 1 teaspoon of baking powder and 1 teaspoon of baking soda, 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, and 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and give a light whisk. Then add half of your flour mixture and mix. Then add your oats that have been soaking in the boiling water. Then add the rest of the flour. Then bake for 30 minutes in a 350-degree oven. To make the frosting, add 1/2 cup of brown sugar to 1 stick of butter and 1/2 cup of milk. Cook until it comes to a boil and let it boil for 1 minute. Then add 1 cup of coconut and 1 cup of chopped pecans. All right, well, I hope that you guys enjoyed seeing how to make these old vintage cakes. If you have heard of these cakes before, I would love to know that. You can leave me a comment below. But thank you guys so much for watching. Have a wonderful day. God bless, and I will see you soon with more delicious recipes.